And we are now live. So, good evening, everyone. In a few minutes, about to begin, join us for making the best out of a COVID 19. So, once more, in a few minutes, about to begin making the best out of COVID 19. So, in addition, we will be giving away LinkedIn Career Premium and a Learning subscription to all lucky registrants. So sharing now the registration link. Okay, so please do register. Once more, we will be giving away a LinkedIn Career and Learning Premium subscription to those who will register. So in a few minutes, about to begin, making the best out of COVID 19. So, this is where that link goes to. Our sharer this evening is Mr. Ronnie Reyes. Once more, this is a LinkedIn Local Philippines event. So, inviting you to join us in our LinkedIn Local group. It's LinkedIn Local Philippines Metro South. If you are into digital creativity as well, like Photoshop. So anything about digital creativity, inviting you to join us in Digital Creatives Philippines. For those who are Adobe users, inviting you to Adobe Community uh, Philippines. So my name once more is Jomark Bakiran. Okay, and again in a few minutes, about to begin. So giving you a small time to register before the event proper begins. Okay, so after 5 minutes, we'll be discovering how to make the best out of a COVID 19. Okay, dance with me, baby. And yep, we have tons of upcoming events. And notably, some of our events are Adobe Creative Educator Level 1 Recruitment Day. We'll be having a personal brand using LinkedIn. So this time we have a friend all the way from India who will be sharing her thoughts about personal branding, Shweta Oja. And next year, for those who are interested to learn about character design with Illustrator, we also have that. And for those who are interested in creating YouTube video tutorials, so ako ang taya dyan. I'll be teaching how to use Camtasia. So stay tuned for that. November 25, I'll be teaching that. Okay. And joining me this evening is Miss Ice Tolentino. Hello, Miss Ice.
Hi, I'm back again with you, Joe Mark.
Ayan,
How are
so
you?
back in action, tuloy ang ligaya. How are you?
Uh,
How is me? Timely topic, COVID. Just survived or got well from COVID. Ano na ba? Two
oh,
weeks ago.
that's good to
Ayan,
hear. Oh,
kaya siguro nagtataka yung iba, some are wondering, hindi ko I'm not doing love, like, and support to their post is because I was sick that
yeah.
time. So, parang it's a season of COVID, no? Uso. How about you, Miss Ice?
Thank God, of course. Walang ano, hindi ako nakiuso. Kaya yun, I'm still one of those lucky. I considered myself lucky. Yeah. And of
Ayan.
course,
So,
dahil
comment.
fully
Yep.
vaccinated na tayo. Charat.
Yan. Comment down below po. No? Comment down below if you're also, if you've passed through COVID 19. So for those who are wondering, may mga nagtatanong no, ano daw yung symptoms? Of course, it varies per person. Pero for me, it all started with a severe headache. Ayan, tapos
Oh.
sinipon, flu,
Mm.
tapos yan nilagnat na. Ayan, plema, ubo, and then wala nang ano, it's really true, wala nang sense of smell and taste. Ayan
Talaga?
po.
How about now?
Ngayon
Meron ka
meron akong
bang
konting plema kaya pardon me if gano'n ako ng gano'n. So
meron
sorry
pa ano
for
'no?
oo, for that unnecessary sound because I'm still not yet fully siguro fully recovered. Pero
Oo,
ano sa
how about yung panlasa?
ay, I have a sickness dati sa lungs din. So actually,
Mm.
ang nakakatawa diyan is I was the carrier of COVID. Nahawa ko sila lahat sa bahay.
So, ikaw pala ang may sala.
Oo, and totoo 'no, you take care of yourselves kasi, during that time natamaan ako because I think 3 days puyat, lack of sleep, and definitely if you lack
Oh,
sleep,
yeah.
your immune system will go down,
Totoo 'yun, totoo 'yun.
tatamaan ka. So, I
Mm.
think that's the reason why it happened.
Oo,
And
kasi siyempre 'pag maano yung immune system mo talagang tatamaan ka, kahit anong sakit pa 'yan.
yo, the funny thing pa is, puyat ako nun, eh. We rushed to barangay hall to get ayuda.
'Yan pala 'yun,
Ayan,
nang dahil
sabi
sa
ko dapat 'di na
ayuda.
kinukuha yung ayuda na 'yan. So, lumalaon yung gastos po, eh, mas matindi pa sa ayuda na nakuha.
True, true. Totoo yun. Ah, I've known some na ano, parang umabot talaga ng millions.
Yeah,
Tapos,
yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, nategi. Mm.
Nag
Tapos, ganun pa yung ano, 'di ba?
nangyari.
Oo.
Oo,
Meron nategi na, tapos ano pa, ang laki pa ng babayaran
gastos.
sa hospital.
Yun.
Oo, totoo yun. Kaya ingat, ingat. Sobrang ingat dapat.
Opo, totoo yun and wala nakakainggit yung mga hospital so they're the one flourishing.
Totoo, totoo, totoo yun. And
And, sadly
kawawa
hindi
din naman,
hindi yung
'di
mga
ba?
frontliner ng matindi, 'di ba? I hear
Yun
complaints
lang.
about
Mm.
frontliners na not well, ah, compensated and
Oo.
ano din 'no, Miss Ice, I have a lot of friends na nagkaroon ng COVID who became depressed.
Totoo
I don't know
yun.
why.
Actually,
Is it
ah,
puso? Ano 'yan? What's your thoughts on that?
no. Ah, actually totoo 'yun, totoo yung ano, yung sa depression, yung anxiety. Hindi yung COVID mismo yung parang, papatay sa'yo, eh,
Papatay.
actually, eh. Oo, hindi totoo 'yun. Kasi it's your ano, parang, yung iisipin mo kasi siyempre ang dami-dami mo parang ma-stress ka, made-depress ka talaga. Ganyan yung nangyari sa kakilala ko. Yung parang, kasi parang parang ikaw, nahawa mo din sila. Parang siya din,
Oo.
nahawa niya din yung ano, parang gano'n. So, inisip niya, parang, yun nga. Tapos, syempre, isolated ka pa, wala kang makausap. Alam mo yung, do maganda, maganda naman, nandiyan na yung technology and all, di ba? Merong, ano, FaceTime, may ano, video call, through Messenger and all. Pero iba pa rin kasi yung ano, yung may dumadalaw sa'yo, yan, yung, di ba?
Mm.
Pero, since it's COVID and it's highly contagious, sobrang isolated ka sa outside world. PBB! Yun nga lang, ikaw lang mag-isa.
Mm.
Kaya siguro mataas
Ako,
yung ano, anxiety, tsaka depression.
yap,
Lalo.
oo nga, eh. Meron pa nga tayong mga supposed to be speakers kaya lang nagka-COVID sila, ayaw na mag-share. Hindi ko alam kung ano nangyari and ayun din. So ako, what I did, instead of watching ano yun, how to cure yourself sa COVID, yung mga symptoms, parang it brings about more depression.
Oo,
Alam niyo
totoo
naman oo.
yun. Mm.
Alam niyo naman yung ano 'di ba, I'm an advocate of LinkedIn Learning, yung mga ganyan. So,
Mm.
bihira ako mag-ano, eh, mag-ano, hindi talaga ako nag-ne-Netflix, sis.
Why?
First time sa buong buhay ko, I bought
Nag-Netflix
a
ka?
subscription. I bought a subscription. I watch LinkedIn Learning, never Netflix, 'di ba? Invest more in education than entertainment.
True, true.
This time, during that time, I watch ano, parang several Adam Sandler and all the
Adam
comedic
Sandler, oh.
movies, 'di ba? Parang just to laugh and be ano, be
Oo.
insightful at ano ba yan, positive outlook sa
Oo, totoo yun.
what
When you
will
have,
happen.
ano kasi, kahit anong sakit naman, whenever you have any illness or ano, lalo na pag na-hospital ka, you should feed yourself positive thoughts and all. Kasi, di ba, parang may sakit ka na nga, tapos bigla pang, you know, yung negative thoughts pa, bakit sa akin nangyari to? Bakit? Di ba? So, you have to feed yourself positive thoughts. Yun dapat yung
Ayan,
palagi.
isa pa 'tong ano matindi din. So, nahawa yung mama ko. My mom is
Mm.
72 na.
Ooh, how
So,
is she?
naku katakot-takot na putak at ano ang nangyari din sa akin. 'Pag may nangyari diyan lagot ka. Ay naku.
Ah,
So,
nako, totoo
ayan.
yun.
So
Especially, same here, meron din senior. O, di ba? Medyo nakakatakot talaga. Kaya nakakatakot magsilabas ngayon. So, especially, ang dami ng variants na hindi na natin alam from A to Z na yata yung variant na meron tayo.
alpha to zeta, I don't know.
Hindi ko na rin alam. Pero
Ayan.
nakakatakot. Totoo, totoo
Yep.
yun. COVID is not a joke. Take it
Yep, and
seriously,
yeah,
kids.
if you recall, 'di ba, yung past news din, yung parang shoutcaster na bata pa yun, eh, sa Dota ata. below 30 lang yun. So,
Yeah,
nadali
yeah,
din
yeah,
eh.
yeah,
So,
oo. And
parang dati
maraming
kasi,
ano,
o 'di ba?
mm.
Yung first outbreak, the elderly, pero ngayon we're hearing yung mga
Oo, yung
mga
mga ano, nasa
bata-bata
mid,
na rin.
oo,
So,
mga nasa mid ano. Meron din akong kakilala na parang ah, nasa mid-20s pa lang siya. Natamaan and nategi din. Kaya yun.
ayan, teka. Sige na nga, without further
Sorry na.
ado, I'd like to bring in let's bring in Sir Ronnie Reyes na lang to this conversation, no.
Oo.
Ayan. Hello Sir Ronnie.
Hi, good evening, Jomat, Ice.
Hi, good evening, Ronnie.
Ayan. Bago po kami magtanong sa iyo Sir Ronnie, no. Shout out muna kay Sir Raymond Mapalad. Ayan. So, actually nauna yan magka-COVID sa akin. Survivor din yan. Sabi ko pa sa
Oo.
kanya, get well soon. After a week, ako naman yung nagka-COVID. So, ayan, sir. Ayan, thank you so much. Looking forward to your premiere pro din. Yan, Sir Raymond. Ma'am Jeanette, good evening. Ayan. Okay, moving forward, let's get to know Sir Ronnie. How about you, Sir Ronnie? Do you know any friends na tegi din sa COVID?
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
getting closer to home. Actually, um, even neighbors got COVID na, but fortunately for us, wala pa rin. Kaya very timely yung talk ko, how to make the best out of COVID.
Ayan. Pero ikaw, Sir Ronnie, never ka namang no, tinamaan.
Never, and I don't hope to be one in the future.
Dapat. Opo. Siguro next
Ayaw naman
topic
natin
natin
yun.
is ice, no? How to survive COVID naman, no?
How to survive siguro.
Ang hirap
Ayan.
pag kasi ano no?
Mm. Ayan, curious to know, Sir Ronnie, because this is also like no, our regular thing. First time to meet Sir Ronnie. So, taga saan
Yes.
daw po kayo, Sir Ronnie, to those who are not yet familiar with Sir Ronnie?
Well, I'm based in Mandaluyong City, Metro Manila. Uh, if you're familiar with the joke, sa labas. Sa labas ng Mandaluyong. Are you familiar
Ay,
with it?
hindi po.
Are you familiar? Hindi. Because Mandaluyong is known as the headquarter of National Mental. So, pag
Ah.
sinasabi Mandaluyong, may follow-up sa labas. Baka kasi kala niyo sa loob. That's the usual
Yes,
answer
okay.
when you ask someone from Mandaluyong, may follow-up. Taga saan po kayo? Taga Mandaluyong. Sa labas.
Ayan. And because ang title natin, Making the Best Out of COVID, it sounds like parang you're one of the persons who benefited from COVID-19, Sir Ronnie, tama ba? To
Um,
some, it's a
not
burden. To
really,
some, it
not
was a
really,
blessing eh.
not really benefited kasi parang kawawa naman yung those
Oo nga naman.
who got COVID. But more of finding the good out of the bad situation. That is why top of mind when you ask me to present, that is the one topic that I would like to share. Yung there are some good things that can happen out of a bad situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
O, tama. And it really boils down, I think, to, ayun nga, perspective. And possibly
Yes.
your environment as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ayan. So, Sir Ron, if you have slides or something to share,
Yes.
get it on.
Can I start now?
Opo.
Sige. Sige, I'll start my presentation.
Yep. To our participants or audience, once more, I think registration link is in the comment section. Once more, thank you to all our partner schools, ayan, organization. Ayan, you've seen their ano, 'di ba, their logo. So, once more, we hope this live stream is beneficial to you or to someone you know. Ayan, most especially sa mga na-depress sa
Can you
COVID.
see can you see the slide?
Yep, yep.
Okay. So the title of my presentation is making the best out of COVID, finding the silver linings in the midst of the pandemic. Okay. So before I begin, are you familiar with this popular personality? Do you know him?
Absolutely.
He's my childhood hero. So why am I showing him? Because I borrowed one of his philosophies. As I share my presentation, um, Bruce Lee said, research your own experience, absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, add what is essentially your own. So basically, I am sharing my personal experiences, my best practices, but you are free to accept it. If you find it doesn't apply to you, no problem, di ba? So if you find that it will be useful to you, you can also add it to your own
Yes.
personal life, right? Correct?
Yep. We're encouraging everyone to comment down or ask questions. So feel free.
Yeah. So again, I'd like to thank everyone who is watching right now. If I may invite everyone to connect with me. Otherwise, I will be the one to connect with you after. My social
Yep.
media ID is I am Ronnie Reyes. My email is reyes.ronnie@gmail.com. As you can see, my full name is Fulgencio Jeronimo M. Reyes, but I am more known as Ronnie Reyes. And this is my website, iamroniereyes.com. So I have most of the social media app except TikTok because I do not know how to dance. So these are my
Same here.
hashtag, my personal brand. Do you know how to dance, Jomark? Baka
Yeah, I think
I
John
can
Mark knows
Absolutely
how to
no.
dance.
I can subscribe to your TikTok channel. Joke only.
How I wish, how I wish.
Uh-huh. Okay, so a brief background again. So why am I sharing this? How I got into sales? Because there are two types of sales job. One is corporate, and the other one is on your own. So I spent 10 years in the corporate sales and another 20 years in the on your own, self-employed. We call it self-employed. Before changing careers, you have to think a million times. Why? I left a stable job doing sales last 2000 because at that time, the IT industry is so attractive. At that time, the internet is just beginning in the Philippines. So, wow, I'd like to join the bandwagon, website development, HTML coding, etc. I thought since I came from a big company, I worked with Ayala Land, the number one real estate company in the Philippines. I thought I can command the same salary. All right. And then when I um, studied the short-term IT courses, programming, etc., I thought IT companies would hire me, but I was wrong. Nobody wants to hire me because I lack the experience, overqualified daw ako, or the age limit. I was already 33 by then. The age doesn't appear in the calendar anymore. Okay? Okay. So, now I was confronted with a dilemma. I cannot get into the IT industry. So I am forced to go back to sales. But I have this belief that I don't want to go back to sales. Why? Because basically I think of myself as an introvert. What is an introvert doing in sales? I'm not the life of the party. I'm the shy person, etc. And I don't fit here because I don't have that personality that I think will fit the sales job. So why? I also have this handicap. Um, I have this hearing loss, but it's one of the most misunderstood handicap because I am not deaf, and yet
Yes,
there are some things that I cannot hear. Later on, you will find out. So in the end, I don't have a choice. Nobody wants to hire me, so I was forced back into sales, and the rest is history.
ayan. Oo, sir, let me share this experience pala 'no, when the first time I talked with Sir Ronnie, I thought na parang nagpabunot siya ng ngipin or or something. So, yun pala yung ano, so yung mga nagtataka din 'no, I'm sure maraming nagtataka din baka nagpabunot lang si Sir Ronnie. So, ayan po yung story niya.
Mm, okay. So my mindset when I went full time in sales, I already have this idea that I have to create a vision and a mission to sustain my career in sales. Because otherwise, if your purpose only is to earn money, you will fail definitely. I've seen a lot of people whose end goal is to only earn income, and they will fail because they do not have a purpose for doing it. So I also have this proven formula, STD. It's not the medical disease that is associated with it. It's sipag, S for sipag, hard work or hustle, tiyaga, persevere, and lastly, dasal, prayer, STD. At the onset, I had that mindset when I started my sales career. So again, you have to have a vision and a mission when you go on your own so you would know your purpose. Okay? Any question so far? Am I get clear naman? Clear.
Yep, STD, ayan.
STD. So now I'm showing a summary of my sales career, my full name. I'm more known as Ronnie Reyes. And by the grace of God, I am celebrating my 30th year in the sales industry this year.
Wow.
So 10 years in the corporate and 20 years in on my own. So along the way, I have built up my expertise in real estate. And then I added life insurance, investment, non-life, healthcare, and travel insurance. And I'm also a graduate of AB Psychology, batch 1988, DLSU. So you can consider me a certified Tito. Tito. Moving along, finding the good during the lockdown. I'll begin first with what did I gain while we are in the lockdown uh, era period. Of course, there's so much online banking and online payment transaction. I learned how to use GCash. I learned to install Paymaya. Uh, I started saving in CIMB Bank. It's the number two bank in Malaysia, and I discovered that Union Bank is the best digital app there is. By the way, I'm not paid by this company. I'm just sharing that it's very, you know. Now for the online deliveries, who every Sunday we use Grab for delivery kasi I told the household we should not cook, so we should buy food. So it's a rest day. So who's not a person who doesn't buy in Lazada? I think almost everyone, because Lazada is considered like, I think, the Amazon of the Philippines. I
Yep, yep.
that
Shopee
and
po, Shopee. Charot.
Shopee.
Shopee. And along the way, when the surge was increasing, we were forced to do online grocery. And finally, for the medicines, I discovered that we can buy medicines online. Actually, there is a branch near my location, so I just Viber the manager, and everything is delivered after. Very convenient. So that's one of those silver linings, no? Other good things that came out of this crisis: we spend more time with the family, and online reunions were initiated with classmates, with churchmates, etc. Now, for learning and documentaries, I'm sorry, I watch Netflix a lot, Jomart. I'm sorry.
Me
I
too, me
I
too.
know you don't watch it, pero it's not only movies. There are documentaries, there are histories, and on the right side, I catch up on lost years trying to understand movies I saw in the past, but I did not understand at all because of my hearing loss.
Ah,
Now, Now I appreciated it more because of the caption, the subtitle.
yeah.
I learned how to use YouTube, watching those channels because it provided me captions and subtitles. Otherwise,
Ayan.
I will not watch it. So
That's
it's
a
an
tip po. That's a tip.
advantage for me. Even LinkedIn Learning, di ba? You can turn on the caption, the
Yes,
subtitle.
yes.
That's why I learned a lot. I benefited a lot from these programs because they provided So hearing loss is one of the most misunderstood medical condition because I'm neither here nor there. I can hear, but in between I cannot hear. I cannot understand. But the deaf totally cannot hear. Something like that. So if you have ears that hear and eyes that see, the Lord has made them both. Never take them for granted. Put them into good use. Kasi yung iba, sayang, you have ears, you have eyes, but you know, they are taking it for granted. Ako, it's very precious to me. If ever a miracle happens na I can already hear the toot of the bird, the whisper of the person, etc. Anyway, enough of the myself. Then I learned a lot from documentaries like TED Talks, uh, Sleep is Your Superpower. This program in Netflix, The Game Changers, I learned that you get the protein directly from plants, not from animals.
Mm.
Because animals are only para middlemen. They also eat plants, but those bodybuilders, they eat plants, not meat. So other useful tools that help me in my work, I'm sure you're familiar with the different chat tools. As a self-employed person, I have to adapt to my clients' preferred chat tools, right? So I learned all these during the pandemic. Imagine that. And I also have to adapt. Like in your case, you are using StreamYard. So it's my first time to use it. Then I benefited. Now I learned all these virtual apps. Other useful tools that help me in my work, Google Drive, and for the conversion, I learned how to use ilovepdf.com. So far, so good, Jomar.
Yep, yep.
And then this one, I use it a lot for my presentation. When I use a picture, I remove the background. Very
Mm.
useful.
Remove BG.
Even though I write a lot, I still use the free Grammarly app because it also further improves my writing. Very useful. Now, I also collaborated with my siblings. My ate started this food channel in YouTube, cooking home cooked meals, and then sometimes she sells it. So she's promoting it also in Facebook and YouTube. And I also collaborated with fellow brokers because I'm also in the real estate industry. And then I also have a brother who joined the network marketing, selling vitamins. So you have to collaborate to earn income, especially in this time of the pandemic. Now, when the world became sick, we thought that it's only a health crisis, but eventually, even the financial market was affected. Why? Because the businesses stopped operating. No business, no income, economy will drop. So we have two major crises, health and financial crisis. When the pandemic became official last March 11, the first lockdown was announced by the government March 15. At that time, no one knew it will last up to this day. Because we are so used to the calamity, we thought that it will just pass a few months and then we're okay. But we never expected. Some even said that the pandemic will last for 2 or 3 years more, right?
Hi, Sir
So
Ronnie.
yes,
In addition pala diyan, the one that's stressing me out is ano pala, the rise of ano, gas prices.
yeah, oo.
Ayan,
Same.
oo.
Relate.
Parang they want ata na ano 'no, ₱100 for December, great, Christmas gift.
Grabe. Ngayon
Yeah,
parang
I
50
remember that.
plus na.
Mm.
Toyota nga was even calling me up kung kailan daw ako tune up. How can I tune up the car? I'm not using it. They've been calling since last year up to today. So maybe malapit na after more than a year. So
Ah,
along the way,
buti
we
po hindi
decided,
insurance,
yes,
Mas makulit 'yun.
Mas
uh,
makulit nga pag insurance.
so along the way, we decided that since this might last for quite some time, and we thought of buying new office tables and organizers to make our office neat and tidy. And this is our view from the office, diba? Seeing plants and birds, stress reliever for me,
Hmm,
for a change. Kasi you don't want to be confined in an air-conditioned room without a view. So that is how I set up the office right beside me. So I can also, when it's windy, I go out and the balcony and bike for a few minutes. Now, along the way, I also thought of decluttering, and it was featured in LinkedIn. As you can see, there are more than 9,500 views in LinkedIn. So it's one of the first decisions that I made, and I'm sure that you can find time to declutter because before you may not realize that there are many files that are no longer useful. So why not declutter your files, right?
yes.
Declutter the physical files, emails, photos, offline and online files, keys and bills. So it will be more organized. After decluttering, I organize my files. So there are two types of categories. Personal, list down all the contact numbers of the family members in case of emergency. Kasi that's the problem in a typical Filipino household, when you experience an emergency, you don't know where to go. So, and if something happens, you have to store all your password also, update it, password from your email, from your social media account, online banking, ATM, etc. Then create a file of all your financial records, bank, investment, if you have. And then many have been avoiding this topic. Write a will, especially at
Yan.
this time. It's very, very relevant. It's not only for the rich. Writing a will is not only leaving something to your loved one. It's also how you wanted, um, for example, how I wanted my funeral to be arranged. If I want cremation, how if I want a short wake, etc. And also for the work, it also applies. You have to organize it. List down the contact details of important people to call. For example, I have a VIP client, so I organize the my clients directory to inform them. Baka they will be calling and then they're not aware that I'm gone, something like that. So you also have to store all your work password, etc. It's the same. Just one is personal, the other one is work. So ang dami kong nagawa during the pandemic. So applying my advocacies. Now I'm start since I represent my personal brand is real estate, investment, health, insurance, my personal beliefs. So how my core businesses thrive from 2020 to the present. Let's start with the investment. When the pandemic became official in last March 11, sabay yung global market. It's also the start of the global bear market. What does it mean? It means all the stock exchanges stopped. And we had two circuit breakers in the PSE. What does it mean? It means that they have to arrest the decline of the downhill prices kasi pababa na pababa yung price ng mga share eh. So ang ginawa ng PSE, they they halted the trading. They stopped it. So that was the first total lockdown in March 15. But if you will look at the history, after every epidemic, the market always rebounds. Okay? So I have been telling my client, don't be left behind. These too shall pass. Invest while the market is still down. When the pandemic ends, there will be another economic boom, and people who invested during the pandemic will greatly profit from it. At that time, I invested in Jollibee, in Ayala Corp. So somehow it made significant returns even to this day. So history has shown that the financial market always rebounds after every epidemic. What more
Mm.
pandemic?
Mm.
So I have been selling dollar investment over peso investment. This is always my recommendation. Because how could you lose if you invest in Facebook, if you invest in Amazon, if you invest in Apple, if you invest in Netflix and Google? They are the companies that are mostly utilized nowadays. So I was able to close more than 330,000 worth of investment to 10 clients, counting from last year to the present. And I also help two VIP clients withdraw the profit. Kasi this is what I do. I also monitor their investment. And if I see that they have substantial gains, I call them up and say, you might want to withdraw. You might want to take the profit and keep the principal. So they are really happy when they when they see that when they learn that I'm calling them because I always bring good news to them. In the real estate industry last year, I was able to close something at least once every month, whether it's rental or sales. But in the following year, almost all of my rentals did not renew. Why? Because most of them are work from home, probably. I was able to sell two properties last year also. And then one of the hardest hit industries, the travel insurance industry, which I also handle. So as you can see, I wear many hats, no? So last year, the travel industry slowed down. I only sold 8 policies, but now with the vaccines picking up, travel is slowly resuming. So some of my clients are starting to reach out to me again. So see the comparison. I sold 8 policies last year, and now it's already 14. So it's not yet December. So it's picking up. What more if the pandemic has been lifted? So being a 24 by 7 service provider, my corporate clients are happy with me. They can give me short notice and I can issue the policy if the flight is a few hours away or at least one day before. Now, I also I'm also into the health industry. I sell health insurance, HMO, and it's very relevant these days. More clients are getting aware about the importance of these health products because instead of the money getting drained when they experience emergencies, they will just use the health coverage, right? So I even got a call recently from a friend saying, "Do you know about this celebrity?" No, I'm not. I'm not familiar. So I googled this celebrity couple, and then I found out that they bought the health insurance from one of the insurance companies that I represent. It makes people more aware of the importance of having a health insurance in case of an unexpected event. Imagine if you prepare for something. Yeah, are you familiar with the cost of the COVID these days? Um,
How about you
mahina ang
guys?
100,000 if you got confined. Um, some of my clients spent 800,000 for 8 days, and some even more than a million.
Yeah, I think it's a million po.
Mm-mm.
More than minsan millions pa nga eh. Meron akong alam na parang nasabi sa akin 2.6.
Mm-mm. Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, ganun
So,
kalala.
yeah, I'll continue. So, as we see the impact of the increased awareness of the importance of having life insurance, health insurance, and HMO as a way to provide security and peace of mind during this time. So even these are the top 10 industries who are inquiring from us from because me and my wife are together in this business. We are both self-employed and we are also managing a sales agency selling HMO products. More new businesses were closed with companies with no previous coverages on life insurance, health insurance, and HMOs. So before they do not have this. Now they realize the importance of these insurance products. For our corporate clients, Maxicare is the first HMO to offer a mental health consultation in our clinic, which is very relevant. Kasi we got an inquiry from another company who is planning transfer to Mexico because the current provider does not offer mental health consultation. So we also have teleconsult for clients who do not want to go out, and we also offer telemedicine. So meaning medicines can be prescribed over the phone, and we also have a Doctor Anywhere app. So you can also consult with the doctor using these apps if you are a member of this company. So there you have it for our health. I'm just sharing this now because this is very relevant nowadays, and people are um, appreciating these innovations from one of the top HMO company. Now we move on to the best practices on managing a sales agency. So we have a branch in Maxicare. We called it a Masunite. So running a branch requires a dedicated mindset to serve because a lot of people are looking for jobs, and we offer them this opportunity. Of course, if you don't have any activity, the less likelihood that you will earn an income, right? So we also created a habit every Saturday morning. We call it coffee time. We meet with them. It's an informal meeting, and we also hold branch meeting. We started last July, and these are our different branch meeting to date. October. We also have a planning. We also have the Christmas party for our members, and we had a kick-off last January. We had a follow-up last April, and our most recent branch meeting last July. Um, we decided to concentrate on helping them sell Mexico. So we also have initiatives. We provided incentive for top producers, additional training. We invited guest speakers for our branch meeting. We have weekly prices for our top producers, monthly and annual top prices. We also have a learning and sharing during this Saturday meeting, and we provide company updates. We also initiated the certified training program, and we also set up our own Google Drive. It's like setting up a mini company. We also celebrate the birthdays and Christmas party, and the most important, we also pray with them, especially at this time. So we call it coffee time every Saturday morning. So far, it's a habit that is appreciated by our members, and we call them partners, so that they can have an informal gathering. We can have an informal gathering, so they can learn more about uh, the product. Do you have any questions so far? So here are some screenshots of our coffee time. Yeah, there you have it. Along the way, I learned all these apps during this pandemic. Would you believe that I do not know how to do PowerPoint? I just learned it last year in a desire to establish the branch because I'm in sales, so the company provides all the presentations. But this time, I also have to learn how to do PowerPoint. So empowering our partners is our way of paying it forward. We have this desire to help others. We have to have empathy to our members. We have to accept. We do not discriminate. If you are interested to join us, just pass the accreditation requirement, and we will train you. And the success is still up to you. If you find time with us, we will give you time. If you dedicate yourself here, then we guarantee you that you will also succeed. We find time to teach them, to coach them, to motivate them, to inspire them. We celebrate their victories, their birthdays, and this is a very this virtue patience. I really have to stretch my patience a lot, especially to the newcomers because they are new. They do not know anything about the business, so we have to be patient with them as we train them and as we support them, and we also pray for them. So they feel like we try to encourage a family environment. And do you know that many of our top producers have full-time jobs? Some even resign from their job to join Maxicare. So it's not basically not only the free time that you have, it's your drive that can make you succeed in this business. So far so good because we're moving to another topic. Am I going fast? Any questions?
Rafaela, hello.
Okay. So
Good evening. Na-late ako, sir.
so now I'm about to share my best practices on health. There's a downside actually. In a crisis, something's got to give in. Last year, I became hypertensive. Bumigay ako, possibly because of a limited movement, lack of exercise, prolonged sitting. But here is what I did. I sought a doctor and then I willingly accepted the diagnosis that I have to maintain something. Because why? Why? Why do I stress that? We know some people who self medicate. In fact, we know four people who died of a heart attack recently from last year to this year. And I have heard some reports that they did not really see a doctor and they tried to self-medicate. Yung nag-aano lang, bumibili lang mga food supplements. So, see a doctor if you are overweight, if you are obese, if you are not feeling well. It could save your life while there is still time. Because the top three causes of death in the Philippines are still heart attack, cancer, and stroke. Not to mention COVID. Which, asterisk yung COVID eh. But still, you get to hear a lot of people dying from these top three causes. So, staying healthy in this time of the pandemic, it's all about going back to the basics. So, how could we do that when we are confined mostly in our home? As you can see, I'm basking in the sunlight. I drink water. I drink plenty of water. I I I also get a lot of sleep, and I eat healthy vegetables and I walk. So this is about it. Benefits of mindful deep breathing. When you're in front of the computer most of the time, you inhale, and then exhale. You don't take breathing for granted. You take a deep breath and then you exhale. Be mindful of deep breathing while you are working on your laptop because it can calm your nerves, it can reduce stress and anxiety. It can also help you improve your attention span and lower pain levels. So practice deep breathing. I have been doing that since even before the pandemic because I have read the the benefit can help you a lot. Best practices on health. Before breakfast, I buy okra, I split it into two overnight, and then before breakfast I eat the water mixed with okra. What are the benefits? It fights cancer, it controls blood sugar. So I'm not yet diabetic, even if diabetes runs in the family. So I hope not, because I'm a regular okra drinker. And aside from that, before eating the solid food, I also drink luyang dilaw because it is inflammation and swelling, which is the cause of cancer, and it also prevents and treats Alzheimer's. So that's one of my best practices so far. So I can attribute that it helps me a lot. And prior to last year, every July, my birthday month, I always get this pharyngitis or tonsillitis. But since last year, I don't want it to happen to me. So I became more conscious. I started to gargle after every meal to make sure that any of the bacteria that stays in my mouth will be washed away. And I found out in Google, so it's up to you if you want to believe it. But to me, it works kasi. When I gargle and brush my teeth after every meal, so before I only brush twice a day, but now it doesn't matter if I brush 3 or 4 times, as long as because our mouth is the entry door to the throat, and you have to arrest the bacteria and throw it out before it gets here, di ba? And also benefits of a morning sun, but we stay indoors most of the time, so we have to have a substitute. So I drink a lot of Fern D, vitamin D. As you can see, we get vitamin D from the sun. Yeah, and these are the benefits. Protects you from brittle bones, hypertension, heart attacks, stroke, diabetes, certain cancers. Now, I have to walk the talk since I'm also selling health products. It's not enough that I sell it to my clients, right? I also have to have one because it's not enough that I have a full healthcare benefit from the company that I'm working with. They gave me 100,000 benefit, but I also have to add, knowing that the cost of hospitalization these days can be over 100,000. 100,000 is very small nowadays. So with me and my wife decided to get the Global Health Access from AXA, which can provide coverage of 100 million, and it covers pandemic. So the irony is this: you want the best healthcare, but you don't want to use it ever. So that's the price of buying peace of mind. And then, of course, you have to have you have to be fully vaxxed these days. By the grace of God, we got a favorable vaccination schedule. And not only that, we had ourselves vaccinated in Mega Mall. So before that, I was really paranoid. Um, I watch a lot of YouTube from advices from doctors if what type of vaccine should I take. And then fortunately we got Sinovac, at least 50% effective. I don't want a very strong vaccine, at least just have just get vaccinated. And also one of the best practices on health that I do for myself is I take 2 tablespoons of virgin coconut oil before bedtime. The DOH recently released an article saying that it has proven antiviral properties. And then I learned from TED Talk that sleep is your superpower. So do not take sleep for granted. Diba you mentioned earlier, Jomar, that you got COVID because you lack sleep. It really
Yes, yes.
decreases your immune system. So when you got your sleep back, it will really boost your immune system. And I also load up on vitamins for vitamin D, multivitamins, etc. Now, since we sit a lot of time, I also bought this from Lazada. You have to elevate your legs so that blood will circulate. I do this while watching TV at night. Are you familiar with this?
There's someone po is asking for Shopee link, not Lazada.
Ah,
Ako ba yun?
I forgot how I found this in Lazada. I bought it last year. And then power nap. Sometimes you work straight, and it's very relevant or very useful if you take 5, 10, 15-minute power naps so you can recharge. So do not take this for granted. Because if you work straight without getting a few minutes of rest, then your immune system will go down. And then when you get to meet someone with COVID symptoms, mas madali ka mahawa. And then also, do not take water for granted. Because I know someone who drinks Coke from morning to lunch to evening. It's like he treats Coke as his water. No wonder he got diabetes, diba? So I actually drink more than 8 glasses. I think I average 12 to 14 glasses a day. So how can you walk inside the confines of your house? So we have a two-story house, we have stairs. I have this stationary bike and this treadmill. From time to time, my time limit is when I start to perspire or sweat. That's the time that I will stop. At least I have this feeling that it's already working. Siguro may average mga 10 to 15 minutes every other day. I'm not reading the benefits, it's already self-explanatory. And of course, you have to read up on the medical updates from health authorities on how best to protect yourself from getting infected. Right now, because of the Delta variant, I started wearing double mask. The first one should be the KN95 if you're using the medicinal mask, and the other on the outer you should wear the cloth mask for better protection. But of course, in spite of all that, I also have time to cheat, di ba? Uh, Life is boring if you will not. You only live once, so you also have these lockdown celebrations, birthdays, etc. Now, dealing with mental health naman tayo ngayon. So, dealing with the crisis, you have this health crisis and financial crisis. But we discover that the health crisis also have parang sub crisis, and you have to deal with mental health these days, especially among coworkers, because they don't get to talk to anyone. Yung alam mo yung you wanted to release some pent up emotion, but you cannot share it to your family members, and then it's suppressed inside, and then you also have this feeling of burnout. So anyway, before that, here are some startling facts that I discovered. There are roughly 1 billion people suffering from mental illness. About 43 million experience mental illness every year. I got this from TED Talk, di ba? So I've I've known some people who experience insomnia these days. Um, I have to admit that I also have this sometimes I get this feeling fear, anxiety, depression, feeling of helplessness, hopelessness, especially if, if a family member died during the pandemic, stress from work, burnout. I'm sure you can relate to that, and especially grief. So disclaimer on mental health, I'm not an authority. I just Google those information. But since I'm also psychology graduate, I have some understanding, basic understanding. And I also, like what I said earlier, I also absorb what is useful. So I saw this from UNICEF, how to talk about mental health. You don't diagnose, especially if you are not a specialist. You avoid medical terms. Um, you just say, my friend has been feeling anxious and is having trouble sleeping, rather than saying, my friend has anxiety. You choose words carefully. Let them express what they are experiencing, and reassure them that it is fine to say how they feel. How are you? No, really. Mental health is just as important as physical health. Create space for people to feel heard. So, along the way, I remember this Kubler-Ross grief cycle. Whenever a person experiences a crisis, especially a sudden one, they have this tendency to deny, and then it will be followed by anger and then bargaining. You are struggling to find meaning why it happened, and then after that you will get depressed, and then later on, sabi nga nila, time heals daw. So you will explore options to move on. And reality, I cannot you cannot have a perfect world. When the lockdown was announced last year, March 15, 8 days later, my mother died. Imagine, my mother died not of COVID but of old age. But I imposed a news blackout on social media because I don't want that stigma that many people will say that she died from COVID, which is not true. I don't like I don't like them to think that my mother died of COVID. So if I will go back to this stage, wait, I I'm still in this acceptance level. I am still trying to wrestle or struggling with acceptance because to this day we have not held an event for her. We did not have had a wake when she died. For example, on this day. The following day, she was picked up by the morgue, and we were not allowed to go with her. Can you imagine the pain that we had? Buti na lang, we spent time with her last few years, the siblings, the families, her siblings, relatives. For 1 year, we got to celebrate birthdays with her. We got to say I love you with her. And she felt loved, she felt cared for. So, what I'm saying is, if you still have your parents, um, take time to show that you love them, you care for them, say to them that let them feel that you love them, because when you say you love them when the person is dead, it's different. They cannot hear you anymore. So another way of dealing with mental health, we have to pray. We have to pray. You have to cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. That's a promise from the Bible. We also have this weekly Bible study at home. Um, it's a good avenue to share your personal problems, concerns, and after that, we pray for each other. It helps us cope with the stress, with what's happening around us. We also pray for the country, for the world, and for the pandemic to be gone, di ba? So this type of weekly Bible study can also help us cope with the mental health. And another way to cope to deal with mental health, if you can, if you are domestic pet lovers like me and my wife, we have cats, birds, dogs in the house, and they can really boost happiness. Huh? They it's quite a lot to maintain them, but the happiness that they bring is unquantifiable, priceless. By the way, these dogs are owned by my sister. When I get to visit them, they are very lovable, huggable. And then, sorry to disappoint you, Jomart, but I'm a Netflix subscriber. I really had the time of my life watching these movies. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. I love Mossad. Imagine the book that I've been reading back in college. I got to watch in Netflix, and I also became a lover of this Netflix series, The Crown. I became acquainted with the history of the English monarchy, and of course, when we want to laugh, we watch slapstick comedy movies like Naked Gun and Mr. Bean. What else? Dealing with mental health. Again, Netflix. There was a hit, Queen's Gambit, and it's about chess. So unfortunately, I kept my old chessboard. So for quite some time, I played with my family. So if they're not around, I learned how to install chess app on my mobile, and I play with myself. Your mind sometimes needs to be detached from work. That's one of the ways on how to deal with mental health, in my opinion. And also get busy but be productive. Do your part in the household. My favorite part is washing the dishes because I even rationalize it. When you stand, your body starts burning fat. So I enjoy washing the dishes. Then another way to deal with mental health, you learn a new thing that is interesting to you or something that will add learning or harness your skill. Yan, dito pumapasok yung LinkedIn Learning. Sometimes it's related to what I do, sometimes it's just pure interest. And then, of course, when you're stressed, baligtarin mo lang, eat desserts, eat your favorite food, it changes your mood. You only live once. What happens in your brain when you eat your favorite food? It's like dopamine levels rise down. It will create a feeling of pleasure, a similar experience by chocolate lovers everywhere. And then I also reread my favorite books. I even had to buy them from Amazon. So I have to wait 2 to 3 months before they arrive. And then I reread the only new magazine that I had was when Kobe Bryant died. So when I learned that the ESPN came up with an magazine, I ordered from Amazon. So reading, reading real books, reading real magazines, not from Kindle. And no phones when eating and sleeping. I mean, I leave it in the office when I go down to eat. 6 reasons to put your phone away. Kasi it lowers concentration, it increases stress and anxiety, it reduces memory, it makes you sleep worse, it wipes your view of reality. So I started putting my phone away before bedtime, sometime last year when the pandemic started. And I think this is the last. Negative emotions harm your body. You don't want to get sick and go to the hospital. So avoid ranting in social media. Before the last national elections, I really participated in social ranting, especially when it comes to politics. So I created a lot of enemies. They unfriended me. But so this time I learned my lesson well. No more ranting because when you rant, who gets to benefit really? Who gets to hear your ranting? 10, 20 people, and then nothing changes, di ba? Ganun pa rin. So what's the point of ranting? So just avoid it. It only snowballs the negative talk. So avoid ranting when it comes to politics and religion. Mental health, lastly, the Bible promises that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. You know, fear, nanganganak yung fear eh. When you entertain fear, it gives birth to anxiety, to worry, to doubt. So you claim the promises of God that He did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power of love and of a sound mind. So dapat we claim this promise. So I'd like to share how our church helped us in this time of the pandemic. When the lockdown started, our Pastor David Samral, um, is one of the hardest working pastor that I've ever met. He every evening we have this live online service. It sustains us spiritually. We got to hear words of wisdom, um, how God can help us. So, in other words, He teaches us that we have to depend on God for everything. And we also, even before the pandemic, I have been praying this Psalm 91 Psalm 91 is a prayer of protection. So I pray that daily and many times, especially before I go out. In fact, I already memorized the whole chapter, so I personalize it. So we also have these morning devotions, and we do not miss Sunday worship even online, because the promise of God is His will for us is that we may prosper in materially in all things and be in health just as our soul prospers. So we should not live our take for granted our spiritual life. Imagine last year, even in the Australian bushfire, even non-believers, when they faced a crisis, kneeled down and prayed to God. So what more if there's no crisis? What I'm saying is we have to remember God not only in times of crisis. We have to remember God every day of our lives, in good times and in bad times. So I also have this habit of personalizing scriptures into my personal prayer. Psalm 91, I pray it for protection before going out, when I travel. Isaiah 53, I pray for someone using this verse for healing, and the prayer of Jabez, First Chronicles, prayer for promotion. I also pray that Deuteronomy. This has been my life verse. It says that, but remember the Lord your God, for He is the one who gives you the ability to produce wealth. So this is my life verse when I started the self-employed career. And true enough, God provides. I was never lacking. And I also pray this Psalm 91. All of this I personalized into my life. Memorize ko na lahat yan. So even the blessing for the tither, he has a promise for that. So why am I sharing these scriptures to you? Because I believe that the Bible is God breathed, divine book written by God for men, for teaching, for rebuking, for correcting, and training in righteousness, so that we may be thoroughly equipped for good work. So now I am about to enter my last part of my presentation, trying to live the normal life in the new normal. So I posted this in LinkedIn. I said that even before the pandemic, after work, we try to eat out to get that break. So when I got that chance with my wife, we eat out like normal times. Of course, we wear the mask and all, but fortunately for us, to this day, we still get to do that, and so far we are still healthy. We do not have the virus, so that's one of the ways that we try to live the normal life in the new normal. I also had the haircut, but when the surge happened, sa labas na ako nagpapagupit ng bahay. My first pandemic haircut was in the garage. And then a year after, I asked my barber to cut my hair just outside the house. So I have this, I can keep this for posterity that I had a haircut under the tree. Feel good effect kasi sa akin yan eh. Psychological. And we had our first out of town trip last year, November 2020, family yan, in Taytay. And then we also had our first out of town trip this year in Boracay. I also posted this in LinkedIn. So the lesson here is any crisis results to change. The pandemic taught us that we are now living in the new normal. And our mindset throughout the pandemic and beyond is that we should be resilient and we should be adaptable. Resilient because it is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity. While Filipinos are known for being resilient, in fact, nagiging resilient po na nga tayo, di ba? But on top of being resilient, we have to become adjusted to the new conditions. And this is the new normal for us. As the pandemic continues, here are some of my learnings. The old normal life before the pandemic will never come back. We have to accept that. We have to continue to adapt as the world changes and accept that the new normal is here to stay and will keep evolving. Siguro, yung wearing of the mask will be a permanent thing. I don't know. We cannot take things for granted, the things we used to take for granted. These are God, family, health, emergency fund. Emergency fund. It used to be thought that we should have at least 6 months equivalent of our salary for our emergency fund. But it's not even enough in this time of the pandemic. So maybe kung ano yung kaya, siguro kung 6 months minimum, but if you could go over 6 months, better. Now, people have been taking for granted life insurance, which is very relevant these days. So, and also investment, you have to take advantage of when the market is down because cycle lang naman yan eh. It will always go up. And then work. You have to don't take work for granted. If you have work, do the best that you can because along the way, management might be keeping an eye on you and might be using it as a basis to promote you. So, do not take this for granted. What is that in your hand? When you still have time, when you're in good health, when you have the resources, and when you have the people around you, use them well. Use your time well. When you are healthy, use it wisely. When you have the resources and the people, do not burn bridges with your office mates. Can pray for you, can work with you, can support you, help you, motivate you, teach you, and who inspires you. When you have your family, your biggest wise, do not take them for granted. Because one of the learnings that we learned, and it is obvious that life is short. Life is short, especially we often read gone too soon to some people who died abruptly. So I think that ends my presentation. So if you have any questions,
Something happened, Sir Ronnie.
what happened?
Parang nagreklamo ata yung mga competitor na MaxiCare. Na-take down yung ano natin, yung I don't know why. Na-take down yung post natin sa LinkedIn. Maybe I don't know,
Ah,
maybe because of the term siguro COVID or a competitor of MaxiCare parang
sensitive, sensitive.
nagtampo.
I
Oo.
can take it out. I can take out those portion. I'm sorry, I'm not aware. I'm not. Nakamute ka, Jomar.
Pero okay tayo sa Facebook and YouTube, sa LinkedIn lang nawala tayo. Parang against their I don't know
Ah,
why.
mm. But I asked permission from Maxiker and they allowed me to use those slides.
Ayan, sige na lang, bago as promised, Paraffle muna natin to, Sir Ronnie, no? So, for those who has questions, feel free to ask anytime. Okay, but as promised to those who registered, ayan, bigay ko lang sa kanila, sir, yung yung LinkedIn learning. Iparaffle lang natin mabilisan. After this this break, itong short lang, para lang ma-consolidate ko because
Yeah.
I'm doing this all alone. Okay, okay. Rap, magtanong ka naman mamaya.
Yes, sir.
Okay po. 5 minutes. 3 minutes.
The practice of job searching hasn't changed much.
Networking,
Referrals,
referrals,
demonstrating skills, and so forth. But the way we do it has. Today, it can all happen in one place, and that's LinkedIn. It connects the world's professionals and creates economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. And LinkedIn Learning combines our high-quality, expert-led learning content with this LinkedIn data to make those professionals more successful.
I've been working in higher education for over 10 years, and I've never seen a tool that provides what LinkedIn Learning can. It reveals in-demand skills using data, AI, and machine learning. We're able to deliver relevant, customized micro-learning content that prepares learners for the future. It's a strategic complement to an institution's curricula.
LinkedIn becomes a hub for students, alumni, faculty, and staff. They can learn, connect, engage, and strengthen their professional brand.
All of us were students once too, which is why we're so passionate about student success. We want to see them advancing their skills and building their professional brand. Employers are going online to find new talent. Students need to create an online presence early to give them a competitive advantage. So let's take a look and see how this works.
First, a student creates a profile. It can be a great place to interact with peers and professors.
Throughout her education, LinkedIn Learning supplements classroom learning, and online course recommendations help her continuously develop micro skills on her own.
She posts course completions and class projects to her LinkedIn profile. It becomes an online portfolio to showcase her academic career.
Her network grows as she interacts with the broader community, engages with thought leaders, and comments on posts and articles.
As graduation approaches and she finds a field of interest, alumni connections help her with internship and job opportunities in that field.
The learning, insights, and connections empower her to enter the workforce.
As your students and staff interact with the LinkedIn ecosystem, we provide student outcome data that perfectly complements your institution's own internal data. It's a mutually beneficial opportunity. Looking at both data sets together, we're able to close skills gaps, enhance outcomes, and foster lifelong learning. Ultimately, differentiating your institution for current and future students.
Together, we're able to invest in the growth and development of individuals, to empower students to build their professional brand and prepare them for the careers of tomorrow.
To help faculty, staff, and alumni elevate their careers.
We're here to partner with you. Let's guide lifelong learners to be more productive and successful in the global workforce.
Okay. Sadly, ito lang yung nag-register. So, sorry na lang sa mga replay. No raffle draw for that. Okay, so if your name is selected, please message me before this live stream ends. Ayan. So, the intent of this raffle draw is for those who are with us tonight. Okay, watching live. So, ayan. First winner is
There
ayan,
is a
supporter natin to. Ivan Rocco.
congratulations.
You're still there. Pero kung wala na, tapos na yung live stream, I'm sorry. Next time na lang ulit. April Sinconige.
Mahirap naman yun, sir.
Cinco. Oh, ano, what's Nige? Anyways, congratulations. Ayan, message me or in LinkedIn, preferably LinkedIn before the live stream ends. Sabihin nyo lang ano, Jomark, my name was chosen. Ayan, last winner is Cherry Palmes. Ayan, so thank you sa mga nandyan pa rin. And again, sorry, not Netflix subscription. Okay, yan, here are some of the things that you can learn with a subscription in LinkedIn Learning. So we have business, finance. If you're interested to do YouTube, video editing, animation, under the creative category, there's so many things to learn. Web design and technology. So like me, I have a great interest as well in IT. Because sa mechanical parang need na talaga IT, Jurassic tayo kung wala masyadong alam sa technology, ayan. Mobile development, so that's, so many things you can learn with, this is 3 months 'no, good for 3 months and I'm sure there's a lot of training centers diyan 'di ba na 5 days lang nga, eh. Alam ko may mga live stream pa nga na 2 hours lang. Okay, so here's, 3 months for you to learn whatever it is to level up. So again, invest more in education than entertainment. Eventually, treating education as entertaining. Ayan. So ako, I'm very fond of, masaya ako. I get to have a sense of achievement whenever I learn something new. Ayun, so kung may katanungan pa, okay, I want you requesting everyone to please check out and visit Sir Ronnie's YouTube channel. So it's Ronnie Reyes. Para kanina is asking things. I'm not a YouTuber, no. I'm not considering myself as a YouTuber. But this is just a tool, a means, 'di ba, of parang teaching, 'di ba? Teaching. So ang ano naman kasi natin, ang content natin is education. Hindi naman tayo entertainment. So we don't do kung ano-ano diyan. Ayun lang naman. So Sir Ronnie will be starting out on his YouTube journey. So kahit wala pang content 'yan, watch out. Stay tuned for upcoming contents. Same with Ice. Kung if Ice decided to be a YouTuber as well, Rafaela. So,
Ako
ayan, let's
parang
collaborate.
malabo
Let's do
yata yun. Charot.
Pressured, sir. Pressured kami, sir. Pressured.
Ayan, so ikaw Rap, may question ka ba kay Sir Ronnie?
Sir Ronnie. Sige, sir. I'll start the question. Ang tanong ko kay Sir Ronnie, good evening po. What's your, most relevant realization po during this time of pandemic?
Uy.
Sobrang deep nun, sir.
Yeah.
Miss you.
If I have to answer that question, most relevant realization, God is God. He does not change. And whatever crisis that we have is temporary. So we will never go wrong if we will go with God. Because I believe that there is sometimes we do not know why this is happening, why He allows this, diba? But at the same time, if we look up to God for everything, depend on Him for everything, you will never go wrong. Kasi if you depend on man, you do not know when very shaky. But with God, you can be secure even in times of pandemic.
Thank you, sir.
Ako
I
naman.
agree ako, sir.
Ako naman, Sir Ronnie, if you'll be going back in time after graduation, ano yung parang gusto mong balikan or path to take or parang options or choices na i-take if you can go back in time?
Yeah, I I think I wouldn't change a bit kasi I wouldn't be where I am now if I change something along the way. So I think those are the past necessary steps for me to be where I am now. Otherwise, if I change something, baka I wouldn't be speaking here now. You wouldn't be inviting me because I'm too busy in the corporate world. For example, if I did
Mm.
not leave the corporate world, we wouldn't know each other. I wouldn't be in LinkedIn. So I wouldn't change a bit because there is a purpose why I was invited here. So maybe some of the listeners will now have a realization that they have been away from God for quite some time. Maybe it's time to go back to God. And then when he comes back to God, maybe he will experience a miracle because I've seen a lot of miracles even in this time of the pandemic. People getting healed. It really miracles still happen even in this time of pandemic. Of course, we cannot be a smart aleck like let's say if God heals, why cannot he heal everyone with COVID? So we cannot question God. He is the potter, we are only the clay. But if we keep the faith, you know, in the end, everything will pass. But God is still here in our lives. Yun. So, I wouldn't change a bit to answer your question.
Ayan.
Otherwise, I would not meet you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ano daw, ito po, ano daw yung advice nyo or parang words of encouragement again to those na na-depress?
um, find someone to talk to. Find someone to talk to because um, with me having psychology as a background, uh, the, the branch that I like, actually, I wanted to take up counseling, but I ended up elsewhere. I'm good in one-on-one. So I think when you're depressed, you really need find someone to talk to, someone who can empathize with you, someone you can trust, someone who can listen to you. That's the best. Now, if you cannot find that person, talk to God because He hears you. Pray. Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. He cares for you. Yun.
Ikaw, how about you, Ice? Any message sa mga na-depress? Baka mapaligaya mo sila.
Ako talaga. Ah,
Hindi, because you bring so much smiles and laughter, di ba? Yun yung mga need natin ngayon eh.
of
Di ba?
course.
Yung
Sabi lang
positivity.
siguro, oo. Ah,
Pwede
don't,
ba sila
don't,
kumutang sa'yo? Ganon?
5-6 ba? Don't foster negativity siguro. Kasi once you foster negativity, it will grow So you always have to be optimist. Whatever, it's easier to be said than done. Pero di ba, if you really want to be optimist, you will. Kahit anong situation you have, kahit sinasabi mo sa sarili mo, oh my God, I'm on my deepest. Pero hindi. when you think of positive thoughts, everything will be a blessing talaga.
Yan. Totoo. Positive attracts positive sana.
Yeah.
Ayan.
Pero ibang positive yun.
Siguraduhin lang positive talaga. Kay ano
Ayan.
naman, kay Rafaela, eto sa na-mention kanina ni Sir Ronnie about ranting. Nako, sa organization ni Rafaela, I'm seeing a lot of posts about ranting. Mas lalo na ngayon, malapit na eleksyon. Ayan, what can you say, Rafaela, about kahit sa organization na lang na kinabibilangan mo na maraming ranters din? Rap,
Like, what organization, sir? What
balik ko sa'yo.
organization po?
Ewan ko. Baka may
Ano
magalit
ba?
at mag-rant yan.
About posting social media. Sa akin, sir,
Yeah,
kasi
yeah.
hindi ako mahilig mag-post kasi social media. Pag ako kasi, checking lang talaga ako sa cellphone, like, change ng profile pic and other stuffs. Pero yung posting, hindi ako mahilig talaga. More on talking lang talaga with my siblings and my family. So, siguro kung may ano man ako, like, opinion about posting in social media, sir, be careful lang kasi marami kang friends, marami kang viewers. So, you have to be very careful eh. Kasi open book siya. Kumbaga, hindi tayo pare-pareho ng opinion. So, be very open-minded sa mga magiging reactions lang ng tao. Kasi you cannot please everyone in social media talaga. And you cannot get, yung parang, hindi pare-pareho yung iniisip nating lahat. So, kailangan maging malawak ka mag-isip if you will post something.
Someone is asking if isa ka daw sa nag-unsubscribe kay Tulpo kasi gaya nga ng sabi mo, may mali nasabi.
Hindi ko nga pina-follow yun eh.
Hindi ba?
Sorry, Tulfo, pero hindi ko siya pina-follow.
Ayun, oo. May
We don't
nag-unsubscribe
need
daw eh.
stress.
Oo. Pero sa ranting, eto nakakatawa din, no? Minsan at times I watch the news eh, although it's Jafeka News eh. Pero nakakatawa eh, 'di ba, sa mga news, kung ano man station 'yan, sa live chat puro mga ranting eh. Minsan
Nakakatawa yung mga
nakakatawa na
rant.
lang panoorin yung mga rant nila eh.
Well, actually,
Minsan yun na lang
ranting,
binabasa.
if I may add ranting, keep it private. You can rant all you want, but rant with the same person who shares your belief.
Agreed, sir.
Not with someone who opposes your belief. Hindi mag-aaway lang kayo. Dapat yung pareho kayong political color, etc. Di ba? But you don't have to publicize it. You will create enemies.
Well, that's
But sometimes, sir,
gusto ko yung
yun
term
yung
na yun, political
nakaka-challenge
color.
eh. Oo.
Oo.
Minsan kasi yun yung nakaka-challenge if you want to, not to rant, but to, just for the sake of an argument. Parang ganun. Kasi I think meron namang point bawat tao eh. Parang ganun. Depende na lang kung open-minded sila sa mga klase ng mga arguments or issues that we have right now, especially the filing of candidacy of 'di ba? yung mga politiko na gustong yung mga bids nila on the political so depends siguro sa personality mo and sa tao kausap mo. Kasi ako, I like challenges. Charot.
Yun eh.
Maxim challenge.
Dun tayo sa may challenge. Charot.
Sa may daw. Sa may kurot.
Oo. Tapos, sir, may question
Ayan.
ako, Sir Ronnie.
Yep.
Ano yung parang, kasi sa mga na-discuss kanina, ano yung palagay mo na naging pinakamagandang nangyari ngayong pandemya?
On a personal level, you mean?
Yes, sir.
Ang nangyari sa akin. I think nothing can replace time and bonding with family. Kasi in a crisis, who will be there for you? It's your family. So when you still have your family, Um, cherish the moment that you have. Kita mo yung example ko, we traveled, we went to Boracay. It's one of the most happiest moments of my life. In this time of the pandemic pa yun kasi parang we own Boracay parang konti-konti ng tao So, ang saya lang nung spend time with your family.
Ayan.
Yeah, I agree. How about you, Raf?
How to lose, maintain weight when we are working from
May
home.
nagtatanong yata, sir. Si Comenency Saman?
Light moment lang yan,
Communism.
light moment.
Communism. How to lose, maintain weight when we are working from home and food is always available.
Good for
I
you,
would-
sir. Food is always available.
Sana all.
We know a lot. Food is not available.
Well, actually, I wish I could be the right person to answer that, no? Pero I think you just avoid like what I do every night, every dinner. I only eat lettuce. So I stop eating rice every dinner. I eat like a king breakfast, eat like a queen lunch, and then like a pauper every dinner. As in gulay lang, and then avoid all whites. Avoid rice, white rice, avoid white sugar, and white bread. Kasi yun ang nakakataba
Mm.
Nako, mahirap kasi magpigil. Ako nasa seafood diet kasi ako When I see food, I
Pareho tayo. Pareho tayo. Seafood diet. Palagi.
Opo. Seafood diet. Ikaw ba, Jo Mark? Seafood diet ka rin ba?
Hindi, wala. Habol ako sa exercise. Pero tumaba daw ako I don't know.
Parang
Maybe
di
siguro
naman,
dun
sir.
sa oo. Kasi
Parang fit naman si sir.
sa mga meds na tinik mo before.
Hindi, siguro dahil na-miss ko yung mga dapat kainin
Oo,
Yung
di
mga-
ba?
Mm.
Dapat kumain talaga ng mas masarap na food. Bakit napunta sa food? Nagutom tuloy ako.
Okay. Sige. Anyways, ayan. So, announcement ulit. Again, if you have a message or an advocacy to share, we'd like to invite you as our next sharer like Sir, ayan, Ronnie. So, ayan. Once more, thank you, Sir Ronnie. And,
Thank you also,
yep.
Jomar, for giving me the opportunity to share my personal experiences here. And I hope you have learned something, you have picked up something valuable, and that you can apply in this time of the pandemic.
Yep. Of course, Miss Ice has a few announcements before we proceed.
Ako talaga, charot.
Yep. Hiring ba
Yes.
dyan daw? Ayun.
Yeah, of course. Continuously hiring kami at Beyond Limits Outsourcing Solutions. So yes, we're growing. We're a BPO industry here in Clark. So yes, we're growing. Just follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook. We have a page there, and don't forget to follow me. And I'll follow you back to connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Yes. So yeah,
Yep.
just search lang dun sa Ice Talentino or yung sa page namin sa Beyond Limits. It's Beyond Limits Outsourcing Solutions. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yep. How about you, Rafaela?
Sir, I'll have to update my LinkedIn account. I'm not that active pa. But
Ayan.
thank you, Sir Ronnie, for being with us tonight. Sobrang, sobrang iba. Sobrang prayerful ni Sir. Sobrang tago sa puso.
Ayan.
Glad to
Okay,
know.
so yep. Once more, thank you, Sir Ronnie then. And yeah, hoping to see you all po. Again, please do connect with us in LinkedIn. Andiyan po yung mga upcoming events or kung ano man. Again, as usual, sana po nakatulong kami in our own way. And yeah, see you po again next time here in LinkedIn Local. Thank you and
Thank you. Thank you.
happy
Thank
Good
you
teaching.
very much.
night.
Thank you very much.
Stay safe, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.